Today in the show, everything is settled. Bradley Barcola moves to Liverpool for $120 million. Meanwhile, Emiliano Martínez agrees a transfer to Chelsea, and Jack Grealish prepares for a sensational homecoming. We talk about all this and much more right now. Newcastle United unveiled 24-year-old Spanish defensive midfielder Nico Gonzalez as the club's new player. The total transfer sum came to 55 million euros guaranteed, with potential add-ons up to 5 million euros. The 24-year-old midfielder signed a 5-year deal with the Magpies through 2031. Manchester City released the Spaniard just 18 months after purchasing him from Porto for 60 million euros in February 2025. In the Citizens shirt, Gonzalez scored 4 goals in 59 appearances, yet failed to secure a permanent starting role under Pep Guardiola, winning the EFL Cup and FA Cup. Newcastle United head coach Matthias Gisel insisted on this acquisition as the club's defensive midfield required an urgent quality rebuild following the sales of Bruno Guimaraes and Sandro Tonali. Immediately following the sale of Gonzalez, Manchester City officially announced the signing of a direct replacement for Rodri, who previously departed for Barcelona. The Citizens' newcomer is 18-year-old Morocco national team Lille midfielder Ayoub Bouadi. The transfer package reached a record 95 million euros fixed, plus 5 million euros in add-ons, making the 18-year-old player the most expensive teenager in Premier League history and the largest sale from League One. Bouadi signed a 5-year contract through 2031 and will wear number 32. The 18-year-old midfielder, who emerged as a breakthrough performer at the World Cup with Morocco, stated, "This is a very special day for me and my family. Manchester City is the best club in the world for me. Playing at Etihad Stadium under Enzo Maresca is a dream." In parallel with the arrival of Ayoub Bouadi, Manchester City fully completed the transaction to sign 22-year-old Brazilian Palmeiras inverted winger Alan Elias. The player officially bade farewell to supporters, teammates, and the coaching staff at Palmeiras before flying to Manchester for a medical examination and to sign a 5-year deal through 2031. The overall compensation for the transfer stood at exactly 40 million euros, including easily attainable performance add-ons. Enzo Maresca views the 22-year-old left-footer as a direct replacement for Savinho, whom the club released to Tottenham Hotspur for 100 million euros. Across 96 first-team appearances for Palmeiras, Allen registered 9 goals and 12 assists, earning the Bola de Prata award as the Breakthrough Player of the Year in Brazil. Negotiations regarding the transfer of 33-year-old Argentina national team Aston Villa goalkeeper Emiliano Martínez to Chelsea have entered a decisive phase. The player gave full consent to move to Stamford Bridge before the window closes, seeking a change of scenery. The conflict surrounding the experienced Argentine escalated after Aston Villa officially announced the signing of Zion Suzuki from Parma as their new primary goalkeeper. Suzuki already featured in the Premier League opening fixture against Brighton, where he conceded 4 goals while Martinez recovered from an exhausting campaign at the 2026 World Cup, after which the 33-year-old goalkeeper was moved to individual training. The Londoners were forced into an urgent goalkeeper search following a disastrous performance by Robert Sánchez on matchday 1 of the Premier League against Fulham. The Spanish goalkeeper committed 3 severe errors during the match, conceding at the near corner from Josh King, a shot saved in 97% of instances according to XG metrics, and spilling the ball directly in front of himself for the second goal, making the goalkeeper position the weakest link in Xabi Alonso's side. Meanwhile, Tottenham Hotspur pulled out of the race for Dibu, placing complete trust in the tandem of Antonin Kinski and Martin Dubravka. Currently, the final outcome of the transaction rests entirely on an internal decision by Chelsea's upper management and Xabi Alonso. Aston Villa stands ready to release Martinez for a compromised 10 to 12 million pounds to clear their wage bill and avoid dressing room friction. Executive talks between the clubs are progressing constructively as the management teams have finalized multiple successful transfers over recent seasons and are simultaneously closing a deal for Nicolas Jackson. Speaking of Nicolas Jackson, the deal between Aston Villa and Chelsea is now fully agreed. The Birmingham side is closing the transfer of the 25-year-old Senegalese forward for an overall financial package worth £65 million sterling, of which £47.5 million will be paid to the Londoners up front. Unai Emery knows Jackson's potential well from their time together at Villarreal and made him his primary target. The forward's positional versatility will serve as a key asset for the Birmingham side. Notably, this transaction avoids UEFA's strict player swap regulations, as negotiations for Jackson and the July transfer of Morgan Rogers in the opposite direction for £117 million sterling were executed as independent legal procedures, allowing both clubs to record full profit for profitability and sustainability rules accounting. Full agreement for Jackson immediately cleared the path for Ollie Watkins' transfer. Aston Villa and Saudi side Al-Hilal are entering the final stage of closing a deal for the 30-year-old English forward. The Saudis agreed to pay £50 million sterling plus additional bonuses, with Watkins signing a 3-year contract through 2029 following a medical examination in Riyadh. The player, who captured the Europa League with Aston Villa and scored 108 goals in 278 appearances, firmly refused to extend his deal with the Birmingham side through 2030 and demanded a sale. With Tammy Abraham remaining in the treatment room, signing Nicolas Jackson represented the sole condition under which Unai Emery agreed to grant a green light for Watkins' departure. The summer's main transfer saga is practically complete. Liverpool has reached an agreement in principle with PSG for the signing of 23-year-old French winger Bradley Barcola. The overall transfer package comes to roughly £120 million sterling, with over £100 million structured as a fully guaranteed fixed fee. Merseysiders sporting director Richard Hughes and Fenway Sports Group president Mike Gordon are finalizing the last legal details with Parisian executive leadership, after which the player will undergo a medical examination. Barcola himself had personal terms fully agreed with Liverpool for several weeks, considering only this option to continue his career. Merseysiders head coach Andoni Iraola and the club's recruitment department viewed the 23-year-old Lion Academy product as their primary strategic target to replace Mohamed Salah. Barcola refused to extend his contract with PSG and was left out of the squad for the League One opener against Rennes. Last season, the French winger featured in 49 matches for the Parisians, recording 13 goals and 7 assists across all competitions, securing another French championship title and winning the Champions League. Furthermore, Barcola emerged as a standout performer at the World Cup with France, appearing in all 8 fixtures and scoring 3 goals. The official signing of Barcola triggers a deadline transfer domino. Liverpool plans to secure 1 or 2 additional reinforcements, with interest remaining open for Yankuba Minte and Ismaila Sarr, while granting a green light to sell Cody Gakpo, who is targeted by Tottenham Hotspur and Manchester City. Immediately following the breakthrough for Bradley Barcola, Liverpool entered negotiations to sign 28-year-old Senegalese Crystal Palace winger Ismaila Sarr. As talks for Yankuba Minte from Brighton reached a complete deadlock due to the Seagulls' unyielding demand for over £70 million sterling following a rejected second offer of £60 million, the Merseysiders submitted a proposal of around £50 million for Sarr, who gave consent to a move to Anfield. However, executive management at Crystal Palace immediately rejected Liverpool's exploratory approach, just as they previously turned down 2 proposals from Turkish side Galatasaray. The Londoners' new head coach, Pierre Sage, called the departure of wingers unacceptable late in the window, as the Senegalese finished as the team's top performer and top goal scorer last season. Sage explained the player's absence from the opening match against Everton as an official injury, emphasizing his contract through 2029. Right now he is with us. When you have 3 years left on your contract, leaving is not that simple. I spoke with him, and we just want to see him on the pitch. Crystal Palace maintains a firm position. Sarr remains their primary source of speed and individual flair in attack following the departures of key figures, and only an astronomical sum would force the club to alter its stance. As Liverpool does not intend to overpay for alternative options after agreeing £120 million for Bradley Barcola, talks for Sarr have been paused while the Merseysiders' sporting department explores other options ahead of the deadline. 30-year-old Manchester City winger Jack Grealish is preparing to make a final decision regarding his future in the coming days, with the players' camp in direct contact with Aston Villa and Everton. Negotiations with the Birmingham side open a real prospect for an emotional homecoming for Grealish. Exactly 5 years ago, in the summer of 2021, Manchester City purchased their captain and academy graduate from Aston Villa for a record £100 million sterling. At that moment, the transfer stood as the most expensive purchase in Citizens' history and the largest sale in the history of the Birmingham club, and now the transfer circle could fully close. After returning from a loan spell at Everton, where Grealish registered 2 goals and 6 assists in 22 appearances under David Moyes prior to a January stress fracture in his foot, the Toffees decided against activating their £50 million buyout option. Manchester City head coach Enzo Maresca leaves the door open for the midfielder's departure as his contract expires in a year. Although Grealish came off the bench in the opening 2 matches of the season, his time at the Etihad has run its course, and the player is keeping all options open. Beyond a potential return to his home ground, where Grealish previously made 213 appearances, Sunderland has approached the player. The Europa League participant sent an official loan proposal featuring partial wage coverage and an option for a permanent purchase next summer. However, talks with the Black Cats remain exploratory as the player awaits the finalization of contacts with Aston Villa and Everton. Write in the comments whether Jack Grealish returning to Aston Villa 5 years after his record £100 million sale will become the main romantic storyline of this transfer window. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next episodes.